Hello, this is Norma and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Each time I drop a video, you'll be the first to be notified. And also put a comment if you want me to make something, you want to know something else, just let me know. And today we're going to be making Liberian jollof rice. So here are the ingredients to make the Liberian jollof rice. So you're going to need 1 red bell pepper, half green pepper, and you need 1 large red onions, but I cut it in half because I'm going to split it up. You need 1 large tomato, a little tomato. I use garlic onion, powdered onion, black pepper, some salt, some Norma seasoning, some chicken seasoning, 2 habanero peppers, some tomato paste, some mixed vegetable, and I'm using parboil rice. I have some chicken sausage, I have some beef strips, and some chicken. You will also need some vinegar and lime to clean your chicken well. The first step is the rice. So I'm using 2½ cup of rice, and you're going to rinse it and soak it. So I've already done that, and let me show you what I do. And the reason I do mine where I rinse it and I soak it in hot water, it don't have to be boiling, but it has to be very warm, is because it absorbs the water and it makes the cooking time less. So I'm going to cover this with some foil paper, put it in my oven. The oven is not on, and an hour later I'll show you the consistency and the difference between a rice that you just cooked and put on the stove and the one that you warm in warm water. So now the rice has been soaking and covered for an hour. So normally this is what the rice will look like if you just washed it and went to bake it. But this is what it looks like after it's been soaking for an hour, and it's the same rice. But what it did was it soaked in a lot of the water. Like I said, that will help to cut down on the amount of time you have to bake it. Because I love my rice flaky, so I don't like to do it on the stove top. I put it in the oven to bake it. So now I'm about to get all my other stuff together and start. So now we're moving on to the meat. So we have the meat strips, and what I'm going to do, the beef strips, I'm just going to wash it. So we're moving on to the chicken, and remember I told you you would need some vinegar and some lime, and this is why. You have to clean your chicken well. It has grease, it has bacteria. You can't just take it and just wash it in water and just start cooking. So I'm going to show you how I do mine. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the lime and I roll it a little bit, because as you roll it, it tends to release a lot of the juice. Before I cut it. And I have it has some hole in here, and then I have a pan right here where it will run out. So I'm going to start running the water, and I'm going to cut my lime. I'm going to use half first. So I'm going to put the lime on the chicken. And then I'm going to put some, you can use some white vinegar or apple cider. I'm using apple cider. Maybe about 3 of the tops. So I'm gonna wash it one more time, but I'm gonna start taking all the grease off. And I don't need the skin, so I'm taking that off also. It just makes your chicken very clean. So Liberians, Ghanaians, and Nigerians, we have a friendly rivalry about who makes the best jollof rice. And so today I'm going to be the judge of who makes the best jollof rice. And I don't think it has to do with country. I think it just has to do with the person that cooks the jollof rice. Because you know how we all say my mom makes the best food or my grandma makes the best food? Sure. If they're making good food, you can have different people making food that's just good. And I think it's just certain things that you just cannot do. So think about, you gotta make potato salad. And one of the rules is you cannot put raisins in a potato salad, especially if you bring it to the cookout. Maybe you can put raisins at home, but not for the cookout. And then another thing you don't do, you don't always have to put ginger and garlic in your food, in everything you make. Some things is good, but some things it take the taste away. And as we talk, I'll tell you some other things that you're not supposed to do. So now I finished cleaning my chicken and it's ready to go. I'm going to show you how I season my chicken, but you have to be, I can't tell you the exact measurement for you, because some people, I didn't realize that before, but now I know people have pressure, people have different kind of stuff. They can't have this season, that season, so that you have to make a decision what's best for you. If you can use salt or if you can't, but I use it. So I'm going to use a little bit of salt, and I think it's like half a teaspoon. And I'm going to use some black pepper, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of onion powder, maybe half a teaspoon also, some Norma seasoning, and then I have some chicken seasoning right here, and I'm going to use a little of that. And I'm just going to mix it around and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And I'll go on to cut my sausage. Okay, so now we're moving on to the sausage. Make sure when you take it out of the pack to rinse it off. And then you can use any sausage you have, but I'm going to use the chicken sausage that I had in my freezer. And this is about the size that I cut it. I like this one because it has like peppers and vegetables in there, and I think it's nice. After I cut this, we're going to move on to cutting up the vegetables. So let me wash my cutting board. We don't want to cross-contaminate, and then I'll come back with my vegetables. So I've washed all my vegetables, and now I'm going to start cutting. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take half of the big red peppers and just slice it like this. Try to go as small as you can. They don't have to be very small, but just not big chunks. And I'm going to turn it this way and just cut, just to make it a little bit smaller. And I'll put this one aside. I have a neutral blender that I'm going to use to blend my other vegetables. So I have my tomatoes. And I'm going to keep the inside. The meat, I'm gonna keep it, just throw in the blender. Okay, I'm gonna take my red peppers. And I'm gonna clean it out. Usually some of my cooking that I do, I'll take the stuff out, but like the seeds, I keep it, but today I'm just gonna trash it. And because you're gonna put it in the Nutri blender, you don't have to make it very small. And if you're cooking a smaller quantity, you can use less. If you're cooking a larger quantity, obviously you can put a little bit more. And I'm going to use one of the peppers and just cut it in half and put it. And this, I told you I would just use half of it. I'm going to blend it, put a little water, just a tiny bit, and blend it down a little bit. Let me see, I might have to move something to get the top one. So I'm just going to put a little water in there, not much. So now we've got it, and I'm going to bring it over to the Nutri blender. So I'm going to add some more vegetables in there. And continue to blend. See how fine it gets. I'm going to pull some out. Just so I have enough space for the next one. The Nutri blender is just so powerful. So I have one more tomato to go. And you don't have to do it any particular size since it's going to go in the blender. And this other pepper, I'm not going to cut it up, I'm just going to put it with my onion. So we got it all closed. So we have everything blended. I'm going to clean my workstation and I'll be back, and that's where the fun begins. So now we're going to start with our beef strips, the sausage, and frying the chicken. I made the stove high and then I turn it down a little bit. And you don't have to fry it, because it's going to go in the oven, I'm going to bake it, so you don't have to fry the living life out of it. Because it's in strips, this should be fine. So I'm going to take that out. And after this one, we're going to go on to the sausage. The sausage I'm going to fry a little bit longer because I don't want it soggy. So I put the heat up a little bit. Maybe it's going to fry maybe like 6-7 minutes. And then I'll flip it and take it out. So the sausage has been frying for about 6 minutes. So now I'm going to take it out. I'm putting it all together because they're all going to go in one pot. So after this, I'm going to put in my chicken to fry. And I like my chicken crunchy in my jollof rice, so I'm going to let it stay, maybe fry for about 10 minutes. But I'll show you the consistency, how it should be when it's ready. So now the chicken has been frying for about 10 minutes. So I'm going to take the chicken out. I'm cutting the stove off because I'm going to use a different burner when I start to put the jollof rice together. Okay, so everything is fried. I'm going to take this from the stove. And I'm going to put the pot. I'm going to put this one on high heat, and don't use the same oil because you don't want the oil that you fry stuff in to make your jollof rice to have any aftertaste. So I'm going to put my stove on, and I'm going to put some oil in there, and you don't need much, maybe a few tablespoons just to fry the stuff. We're going to wait for it to heat up, and I'm going to put my red onions in there to fry first. So now the oil is hot, and I'm going to put that one pepper that I have, and it's not cut up, with some red onions. And I'm going to fry this maybe for about 10 minutes because I want it to caramelize so it don't be bake in the food. And I'm going to turn it down to medium heat and let it fry. And you notice I haven't put any seasoning there yet. So it's going to fry down and I'll add the other stuff. So now the onions have been cooking for about 10 minutes. And now I'm going to add the vegetables that I blended. And I'm going to stir that and I'm going to let that cook for another 10 minutes. Now your vegetables have been cooking for like 10 minutes. And I'm about to add the tomato paste. But one thing I have to tell you about all these canned goods, a lot of them have been sitting in the stores. So you have to make sure that you take your cans before you open it and wash it. And because it's closed, I wash mine with soap and water to make sure you don't have no germs, nothing on there, because they stay in the warehouses, because I've been in a warehouse and I know what it looks like. So always wash your cans before you open it. So now I'm going to put the entire thing in there. The reason I haven't put any seasoning yet is because I put seasoning on my chicken and my meat, and I want to know how it tastes before I add new one. So after I put that in the pot, I'll taste it. This is not going to take time, just to break up, maybe like a minute. Make sure you stir it well and mix it in. Now I'm going to add my chicken and meat and everything that I have fried. I'm going to stir that around for about a minute. After I do that, that's when I'm going to taste it and see how much more seasoning I need. I still need to add some seasoning. So I'm going to add some Norma seasoning. It has enough pepper. We just need I'm going to stir it around. And then I'm going to add my mixed vegetables. I had this in the freezer, so. And you can use a generous amount. Remember, I used 2.5 cups of rice, so about this amount should be good. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm about to add the rice and stirring it around because I'm going to bake it in this bowl. And if I need more sauce, I'll add it. So I'm going to add some more rice. You want to make sure that all the sauce is around the rice. I'm going to add the last bit of rice. Okay, so now I didn't need that much sauce because the pan is small and I want to bake it in this pan. So this one that I took out, I'll just keep it and put it in my freezer for the next time I make some jollof rice. So I'm going to cut the stove off and I'm going to put some foil paper on it. Cover it real tight. And I told you the oven was 375 and I put it for about 40 minutes. I want it sealed real tight to keep all the steam in there. And that's what makes it cook real fluffy. So it's all sealed up. And I'm going to take it and put it in my oven. The jollof rice has been in the oven for 40 minutes. Remember I said 375 for 40 minutes. And so now it's time to take it out. And we're going to stir it. Not really stir it, but just like turn it up. And this is what your jollof rice should look like. And I hope you try my recipe, and I hope you like it. And I'll be fixing something else for you. Have a great day.